This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
So, Nate, I'm just curious. What adventures have you gone on?
Lately?
Well, like, what is like the most memorable or maybe the most dangerous? I don't know, something that you can remember off the top of your head.
Oh, probably the road trip I took with my son, where we did a loop, went all the way up through Michigan, across the Dakotas, down Colorado, and then back here to Texas.
So, why was it adventurous? You were just in a car driving around.
Yeah, well, it was at the beginning of June, and it's not a good idea because the tornadoes get kind of active around that time of year. Yeah.
Okay. Now, where did you guys like sleep outdoors? Did you guys do hotels? What were you doing on this road trip?
Oh, we were all outdoors.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that was the adventure then.
We camped out of our truck, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, the most adventurous thing I think I've done is jump off of a cliff in Hawaii. And that was like not really what I wanted to do, but my nephew, I think he was probably like 10 at the time, and he wanted to do it. And there's no way anyone was letting him jump into the ocean by himself. And of course, his mom wouldn't do it, but none of my other sisters would do it. So he's like, Auntie,
All right,
please.
what kind of cliff are we talking about?
It's high. It's one of those cliffs where you have to run because it's kind of like on a slanted a little bit.
Yeah.
And so if you literally
Yeah.
go straight, you're gonna hit the rock. So you're gonna have to run a little bit to get
And
into the
jump.
ocean.
Yeah, you
Yes.
got to commit to it.
Yes. See, but the part that wasn't really, I mean, jumping part I think was okay, but the hardest part is because now once you jump off, you got to climb the rocks back up to come back up to the top.
Mm.
And it's slippery because, one, it's wet. And then as the waves are coming, it can knock you down as you're climbing up. So I think that was the scariest part of the whole thing. But
I imagine there were a lot of people doing it, though.
oh, there were a lot of people doing
Yeah.
it. And so if you kind of needed help, there were people out there who was helping you out also. And people had their inflatables also in case anything happened. So, but talking about adventure, that's going to be our topic today on INC Radio South Central States. We're going to give you top 10 advices that was generated by AI on different things you can do to start an adventure. And I just want to let you guys know adventure is not, it doesn't have to be something dramatic like jumping off of a cliff, right? Adventure is subjective. It depends on what it is. For example, if you've been living home your whole life and then now you decide you want to live on your own, that could be an adventure, right?
Yeah. Oh, so we're gonna really broaden this definition, aren't we?
Yes. So it's not just who wants to jump off of a cliff.
So how would you define adventure then?
For me, I think an adventure is doing something out of your comfort zone,
Mm.
something that you would not normally do. Like,
Yeah. And more of like a new experience.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it could be anything from leaving the house, it could be anything from traveling on your own, or if you're really like a daredevil, jumping out of a plane,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. All right. Sounds
So it could
cool.
be anything like that. Okay, so if you guys have adventures you've gone on, share it with us, and then we'll in the chat, and then we'll put it on. And then also, if you guys also have suggestions for people who are trying to go on an adventure, go ahead and put that in the chat. So let's go ahead and start with our first
And I'll
tip.
run the slide. So bear with me.
That's okay. So what is our first tip?
All right. Let me bring it up. Here we go.
All right. It says know your limits and push them safely. So adventure is about stretching boundaries, but not recklessly. I think that's the key word. You can't be reckless. So learn your physical, mental, and technical limits so you can push them with preparation and awareness. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, before we get started, remember this was generated by AI. It's
Yes.
not our own, so we're kind of challenging it and discussing it.
Yes.
So I think when you're younger, you tend to take some liberties on what you define as safety.
Okay.
Because I remember jumping into this river gorge
Mm-hmm.
south of here toward Austin,
Okay.
Pedernales Falls.
Okay.
great place to be. There's big rocks, and then there's a waterfall into a swimming hole.
Uh-huh.
And I remember jumping down onto one of the lower rocks, and it was a little bit of a jump,
Hmm.
probably more than I should have, because like I could feel like the impact in my bones. So that probably was not a risk I should have taken. And also hiking around Enchanted Rock, which is close to Austin also.
Okay.
I remember like jumping on these rocks where you could take a pretty substantial fall if you slipped.
Hmm.
So again, should not have done it. Looking back now today, in my current state, I
Hmm.
would never have taken those risks. Because like when you're out there, if you break a bone or something, well, you're on your own on bringing yourself out
Well,
for the
that's
most
why
part.
don't go on an adventure on your own.
Well, my wife would be with me,
Okay.
and she can't carry me out.
Oh,
So
that's true.
those are the kind of things you got to factor in as
That's
far as
true.
like, all right, if something goes wrong, am I going to be able to rescue myself essentially?
That's true. And like I said, like you said, when you are younger, because I think when I was younger, I was really fearless. Like, I would do anything.
Hmm.
And now, even when I did the jumping off the cliff, that was like probably within the last 5 years. And that's something I never would have done on my own, but when your nephew kind of begs you and no one else wants to do it. And
Yeah.
like I said, at the time I was kind of scared, but then it was fun. But you do have to be careful because like when I did jump in, you could feel the pressure of the water. And so you really have to either jump in feet first or
Right.
as a dive, but you can't be like doing a belly plop or anything because you will get hurt. So
Right. Right.
yeah. And so yeah, I think you really gotta know your limits.
And we're not just talking about the outdoors
No,
either.
no.
So know your limits and push them safely. What about for like moving out?
Well, first of all, if you are considering trying to move out of your house, one, can you afford it? Right? Like, will you be able to survive? And I like for me, when I first moved out of the house, my parents were like, okay, if you move out, you're on your own. We're not supporting you. And, I was a broke college kid. I had to work 3 jobs to survive on my own, but
Hmm.
I was willing to do it. And so I think that's another thing you have to, realize is, are you willing to do it? Then you always have that fallback. Well, if I don't make it, I could always go home, right? And my parents says, oh, don't worry, you're going to be home in a month. And I had to prove them wrong. And that's why, even though I was eating like top ramen and cup of noodle every day, I would do that because I wanted to, one, have this adventure, but two, I wanted to prove people wrong that yes, I can do it.
See, when I moved out after college, I went from Florida to Houston.
Okay.
And I literally threw my belongings all into my Buick that
Hmm.
I had at the time that wasn't running very well, drove the 9 hours there, and decided I'm going to just start hitting up apartments, right? After the 9 hour drive, start hitting up apartments, and whoever will take me in, that's where I'm going to live. That was the risk I took.
Now, I mean, do you regret that adventure?
No, I think I made a good choice for my first apartment. This
Okay.
was back when you could get an apartment for like $500 a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah. The risk I had to take though was that I wasn't getting paid for this new job until I was in it for like a month. So I was
Oh,
living on
really?
credit. Yes.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to have my mom co-sign on the apartment with
Okay.
me. Because even though I could prove that I had employment, I didn't have any cash at all.
Yeah.
So, they were kind of taking more of a risk on me, but it all worked out.
Yeah. And going with the whole age thing, Brother Oliver had did put in here. He says when he was younger, he used to be adventurous, right? Especially with food and outdoors. But now,
Yeah, when he was young, he thought he was Spider-Man, he says.
but now he says he can't because of his knees, which is true though. And I think that's where knowing your limits are. If you know you are not physically capable of doing something, then don't do it, right?
Yeah, and when it comes to like hiking, you got to be careful about pushing yourself to where you might not be able to come back. So one risk we accidentally took, me and my wife, after we got married. This was on our honeymoon trip.
Uh huh.
We went hiking up the tallest mountain in Arizona,
Uh huh.
and we didn't bring enough water. And Arizona gets hot in the
Yes, it
summer.
does. It does.
So there was a real risk of pretty severe dehydration. We did get pretty dehydrated on the way back. We made it, of course, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But
Hmm.
that kind of risk, and we're going to talk about this later too about being properly prepared.
Yes.
That's where you have to know, okay, can you handle the heat? Can you handle a hike? Do you know when to just calculate and stop and be like, we need to turn back and
Yes.
not continue forward?
Yeah.
Because another thing too, when you're hiking, when it's dark, it is, outdoors dark,
Yes.
where it is pitch black because there's
Yes.
no ambient light unless there
Unless
happens to
it's a
be
full moon.
a full moon.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and like we said, know your limits. Brother Roman Lou did post some in here and goes, "My son's limits are to infinity and beyond." Yeah, he loves Toy Story. But and it's true though, because they're little kids, I think they're adventurous, they'll do anything. They'll jump off of furniture, even
Right.
though parents tell them to stop.
And then we got Rome saying, as kids, it doesn't take as long to heal as when we're older.
So true.
Absolutely true. I'm
Yes.
finding I have to factor in recovery times whenever I go on adventures.
Yeah. So, but yeah, okay, so that's the first tip.
Oh, here's another good one.
Which one?
Have your medical insurance paid up, your life insurance paid up, and notify your next of kin.
Who said that one?
That was Jerry Hill from
Oh, okay.
Biloxi.
Which is true. So I have insurance, and that was the only reason I jumped off of a cliff. And yeah. But anyways,
Oh, here we go.
what's
This
the other?
what Ren said. His son Finn is proving to be an exotic food eater, picking up bugs and tasting it.
Then you know what? He'll survive in Bangkok, because in Bangkok they got all kinds of bugs that they sell that people would eat, like crickets, grasshoppers, larvae,
Oof.
cockroaches. It's nasty.
And we got Joy saying, adventure experience was when my first son and I traveled via plane.
Oh, that's probably by themselves without the whole
You
family.
know that is an adventure when you take your
Yes.
young child out for the first time. I remember when I took him to that same falls.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we got there, we literally just got in the water, and I saw a snake going across the water, and I was
Yes.
like, "Oh, do we stay or do we go?" Now my son, he would have loved seeing that snake. He probably would
Mm-hmm.
have picked it up out of the water if he could identify it.
And there's another thing that Brother Oliver said, um, because now as you get older, you have to consider your family. See, and I think that's why I could
Mm,
still be adventurous, because I don't have children or anything like that. So if anything happens, oh well. But for you, I think you would have to consider doing dangerous things, right?
yeah, when I went with my family 2 summers ago, it was me, my son, my brother-in-law, and my dad. So we're spanning 3 generations.
Hmm.
And so when it came to like planning that adventure, I had to take into consideration, everybody's needs
Yeah.
and try to find the perfect middle ground where everyone can enjoy themselves
Yes.
while at the same time not exceeding, what they're able to do.
Yeah.
And we were borderline exceeding what we were able to do because we climbed up in Colorado.
And Colorado is beautiful. Brother Sean put something in here. He said the adventure that his kids love doing is exploring national parks. And I think that's nice too, because with national parks, you have everything. You have got water, you've got mountains, you've got different
Yeah,
things.
there's different support there too.
Yes,
So
yes.
sometimes you're really on your own, but typically they do have rangers to help out there.
And I think Brother Oliver Gabentrina is telling us we're rubber bands. He says rubber band is strong when young, but brittle when older, which is so true, right? But I am not a rubber band. All right, let's go to our second one. Our second tip is research before you go. Whether it's a
Mm,
remote trek or a foreign city, understand the terrain, weather, culture, and any legal or safety concerns before heading out. Thoughts?
absolutely. Yeah. So one example is when we went to New Mexico
Mm-hmm.
and we were climbing up the tallest mountain in New Mexico. I always look at the map and see the surroundings and try to understand, like, okay, where is this at and where are the roads that
Uh-huh.
surround it? In case you get horribly lost, you can tell yourself, all right, worst comes to worst. I know if I can just head in this direction, I'm eventually going to hit a road. So for this mountain, fortunately, the whole mountain is surrounded by roads
Yeah.
going all the way around it. So it's like just pick a direction and just keep heading in that particular direction, and you'll get to where you're going.
Yeah.
So that's one of the basic things I do for research when it comes to like anything outdoors. Is just knowing the lay of the land and what you may possibly have to do.
Yes. And it's true, because it says not only like if it's like outdoors, right? But if you're going somewhere foreign, you really do have to do your research. One, is there public transportation? Can you get around without having to, can you get around without knowing the language and things like that? So I think these are things you have to research before you actually go, because And the last thing you want is you get stuck in a country and you don't know anybody, you don't know the language, and you don't know what to do, right?
Oliver says, find out if there's a McDonald's nearby.
That's his research.
But that is true, because when I was traveling with my wife on this honeymoon trip I was talking about, when we were trying to figure out when we're going to get gas again,
Yes.
okay, in New
Yes.
Mexico, all right, what they define as a town is not what we define as a town.
Hmm.
So I just see a town on, it was a paper map. We were going by paper map. And I'm just thinking, like, all right, fine. We can skip the gas here and just go to this town and get
Yeah.
it. There's nothing there.
No.
It was just an intersection. There was nothing and nobody that lived there.
Now, but on the road, because like in California, when you know you've got miles of nothing, it warns you. It says next gas is 100 miles.
Mm,
And they'll do it at the last gas stop before the 100 miles.
yeah.
And so they post stuff like that. Do they not have that in New Mexico?
No.
Oh.
So I think in general, if you travel out west, Wyoming,
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, New Mexico, places like that,
Mm-hmm.
don't assume that a town on a map is an actual town.
Yes.
You
Yes.
need to actually know, like, where the gas stations are and if there's going to be substantial gaps in between.
Hmm. Yeah. And so with me, whenever I'm driving, I don't have my mileage on. I have like it's how many miles you have left,
Right.
right? Until empty. That's what I have, and that's what I always look at. And then I already know my car also. I think that's another thing. You have to know your vehicle. Like once a light comes on, I know I still have about 25 miles to go.
Yeah.
And there are times I push it to the limit. See, so
I
that's an adventure
I
on its
know
own.
with Toyotas, I think they intentionally do it to
Uh-huh.
where when it says it's zero, it's not actually zero.
Yeah.
I found out with Volkswagen, it is literally zero. Yeah, because I stopped right in front of a gas station.
Oh,
That's
you
how,
did. Like it
yeah, that's
died?
how close I got. It literally died right in front of a gas
See?
station.
I don't think I've ever had a time where I died. Like I did fill it up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I used up this much gas, right? Because it was almost empty. But I don't think I've ever pushed it to that limit where
Yeah.
I didn't know where the gas
Also,
was.
like, if you travel to cities, one research I like to do is like figure out like the crime rate
Oh
in a
yeah,
particular part of town.
yes, yes.
So when I first came to Houston, I just thought, like, all right, this is where I need to be. So
Hmm.
I'm just gonna get this hotel here because on the map they're close to each other.
Yeah.
And you get to the hotel and it's very seedy.
Oh no, see, yeah, no, and it's true though because like when I went to Memphis because I wanted to go see Graceland, right? And so I was looking at the hotels and they were not getting really good reviews that were near Graceland. So I went to a place I want to say it was probably like 10 miles away. I think it's like George something Georgie. I can't remember, but it was somewhere off of Memphis so
Hmm.
that I didn't stay in Memphis because it was safer. And then when I got there, it was so safe. And then I got scared driving to Graceland, because the area is not too nice.
Yeah, that's what's fortunate about today is you can look up reviews, you
Yes.
can see the street views, so you can get, a better idea of
Yes.
what you might be getting into.
Yeah.
Versus, like, back in our day, you take an exit in South Atlanta and you'd be
Hmm.
like, where am I?
Yeah. And I think another good thing is like go into social media because there's like travel groups and things that you can join and you can ask people say, hey, what is it like at this place, and then they can
Right.
kind of give you suggestions and ideas. So I think that's something else we can do. All right, before we go on, let's do our first thinking cap and then we'll go to other people's comments and stuff like that. So our first thinking cap, according to the Wildland Trekking, what is the best hike in the world? Okay. Is it A, the John Muir Trail in USA? Is it B, the Great Wall of China trek in China? C, the Kilimanjaro trek in Tanzania? Or D, the Inca Trail in Peru? Okay, so just put in there A, B, C, or D. Which did they say is the best hike in the world according to this wildland trekking, which is an online.
And we got some good comments we're going to get to.
Go ahead and start reading the comments.
All right. So drop in your letter answers. We're going to go ahead and look at these comments. So, and I think you and I might be able to relate to this.
Okay.
Have an actual map or printout.
Yes.
So not
Yes.
only have your navigation, but
Yes.
what I found out is that your cellular network is not universal.
Yes.
Even if you are with a major carrier, there's
Hmm.
entire regions of this country that don't recognize that carrier.
Hmm.
So you want that paper map.
Yeah, and AAA still gives out paper maps just in case anybody's wondering. If y'all need it, I got membership. I'll get you a map.
AAA will do
Uh-huh.
that. Oh, I have
That's what
AAA.
that's where we always got our maps. When we were kids, that's where my parents would get it. And I remember when we did road trips, it was off of a map.
Right.
So they have like a state map, and then they have the whole US, and then they have cities. Yeah. So if you guys need maps, let me know.
And then we got Brother Matt Bungai, one of our ministers. When he visited Venice, we did not expect to get lost within the streets. So yeah, do your research.
There's not really a lot of streets, it's all water.
Yep. And then Brother Sean, of course, talking about national parks. Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes you don't get signal.
Yes.
Although you'd be surprised, some places you do get signal.
Yosemite, you get it.
In North Dakota, you get flawless signal
Oh, really? Well,
because
there's
there's
nothing there.
nothing impeding the signal in
Exactly.
North Dakota.
I've yet to go to North Dakota. I need to cross that off my list.
Let's see. Brother Romelu says if there's a Walmart nearby, you need to go deeper.
No, you know what? You know what they told me, and I found this to be true. They said that if there's so in cities where they always have, like, they're known for buses, right? If there's a bus stop, it's fine because that's their mode of transportation. But like, let's say in Fort Worth,
Hmm.
where a bus is not your mode of transportation, where everyone has a car, they said you shouldn't go to places that have bus stops because that's where you can tell it's not a really good neighborhood. And I've noticed that. And I'm like, unless it's except for like the major like city itself, but like the suburbs and stuff like that, wherever they have bus stops, yeah, it's not really
They're typically bad.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Brother Oliver Villanueva uh, agrees with that.
What did he say?
Well, he's talking about a place in Chicago, which is a good place to walk. From the
Uh-huh.
suburbs, you'll end up in downtown.
Uh-huh.
You go there for weeks, and then he found out it was actually dangerous. And I remember when me and my wife visited Chicago, yeah, we took the bus everywhere. And so everywhere we went was dangerous. Kind of like what you said.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to check it out. What else? Anything else on the comments?
Let's see what Brother Renzo here. When I travel to Lubbock or El Paso, always looked up the road with 100+ miles without a gas station. I try to buy supplies before that long road.
Yes,
Yep.
that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
make sure if you're driving out west that you check on the state of your car.
Yes.
You do not
Yes.
want to get stranded out there when you have no signal and it's
Mm-hmm.
like over 100 degrees and your car
Yes.
dies. You're gonna be in a bad situation.
See, and I think that was one of the adventures I had when I moved here from California because I had to be at work in January, like January 1st. And so that was, they've got snow everywhere crossing over to come this way. And so, did not have chains because I didn't need them in California. And there was a snowstorm that I had to drive through, and my car kind of like skidded off the road. Luckily, it didn't go over the cliff that was nearby, but I couldn't call anybody for help because I was in the middle of nowhere with no signal.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was scary. Like, someone had to come, and like some good Samaritan like just stopped and goes, "Hey, do you need help getting pulled out?" I'm like, "Yes, please." And they just like put a chain around my car and pulled me out, and then they followed me all the way to until I got to the bottom of the mountain, which I thought was really nice. But yeah.
Yeah, I keep that kind of stuff in my truck. I got like tow straps and
Yeah.
something to jump my battery. But we have Oliver Gabrantina saying when they go from Lubbock to Kansas, there isn't a gas station for 300 miles after Wichita Falls.
See? Gotta be prepared. Oh, and then Flo did put a comment there. He goes, "Adventure was just getting lost sometimes using the map." Sometimes that is an adventure on your own,
Yeah,
right?
she's up in Oregon.
Oregon, yes,
I've
she
I've
is.
never been there.
Oh, Oregon is so beautiful. I think you're gonna like it if you go there. It's very green. It's very green. I
Yeah,
think you would like it.
yeah, haven't been there yet. Haven't been to the Pacific Northwest yet.
You should go. You should go. Okay, let's go to our third one. All right. Our third one is gear up properly. I think this is what you can relate to, right?
Oh, in many ways, yeah.
Invest in high quality activity specific gear from boots to GPS devices. The right equipment can mean the difference between an epic trip and a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, if you start with hiking,
Hmm.
make sure you got good footwear.
Hmm.
That is probably going to be the number one because if you don't have good shoes, you're going to be hating life the
So,
whole
so,
time you're
so don't
hiking.
hike like me in flip flops.
Well, flip flops can be comfortable, and
They're very comfortable for
depending,
me.
what you have to realize too is that in a lot of places around the world, they literally walk
Barefoot.
they walk the mountains in flip flops,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Just whatever they have, it's normal to them.
Yeah.
So you can kind of recontextualize some things like that. I mean, if you're hiking, as long as it's comfortable and you know that there's a trail,
Hmm.
usually you can just get by with sneakers just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'll only wear the flip flops if I know there's some kind of a trail.
Hmm.
But if I know I'm gonna like climb rocks and stuff, then I won't do the flip flops.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you go to like overlooks, scenic overlooks, but there's like a sidewalk, that's maybe an eighth of a mile long
Hmm.
to the scenic overlook, and you'll see people get out of their vehicles like fully dressed up in hiking gear. You're like, what are you doing? You could
Yeah.
just get by with like jeans and flip flops for
Yeah.
some stuff like that.
And for me, I don't like to carry a lot of stuff when I go hiking. So I try to do just the trails. I don't want,
Yeah.
I can't do the whole having the backpack and then filled with water and all that stuff when I do the hikes. My sisters do, but I don't.
Yeah, and depending on the length of the hike too, like sometimes you don't really need much. Like
Okay.
if it's like a mile or two, I mean, I could go like this. I
Hmm.
could really just get up and do 2 miles in what I'm
Yeah.
wearing now. No big deal.
And so Brother Sean did put in their gear up properly, snacks, right? And water. But of course, Brother Romy puts sabaw and rice. So that's like soup, a Filipino soup and rice.
Carrying soup
Yeah,
on the trail.
no, no, no. Bottled water is what I'm gonna do. But snacks is true though, because you don't know like if you're gonna have food, when you go places, and so it's good to
Yeah.
have like snacks.
Well, like I said, if it's like 1 or 2 miles, that's like you can do all that in like an hour or two.
Well, it depends on who you're hiking with.
So yeah, yeah, understandably, but you also have to understand. It's like sometimes you might be overkill, thinking that I'm going on a half-mile hike. I need to have trail mix, and you're just eating unnecessary calories for something that's not really that strenuous.
Okay, Brother Rent put something in there too, which I think is must. He said, "My wife's strength is packing up for trips. I always say we have so much luggage, but every time I ask her for it's in there." See, it's true though. My sister's like that. She's an overpacker, but guess what? Every time somebody needs something, it's gonna be in her bag,
Yeah,
right?
you have to be careful on when you go backpacking though,
Hmm.
because all that adds up to weight,
Yes,
and that weight adds up really fast.
and that's why I agree with what Brother Matt put in here about sometimes you'll have a friend that doesn't mind carrying the backpack, so bring that friend with you to your hikes.
I think that's what I was on our last hike.
See, and that's how like I said, my one sister who brings everything, she doesn't mind carrying it. So as long as she's going on the hike, I'll go. But if she doesn't go, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going either.
See, this is where you kind of lay everything out that you're gonna bring,
Yes.
and you kind of start eliminating like, okay, I don't really need this, I don't really
That,
need
yeah.
that. Contrary to popular belief, you probably don't need like 2 pairs of extra clothing for every
No.
day.
No, no. Or the other thing my sister does is when she does, she lays things out and then she's gonna split it up among people. She's gonna say,
Mm.
hey, you have to carry this, you have to carry this. That way it's kind of fair,
I
you know?
divide it up by days. I say, all
Mhm.
right, on Monday I'm gonna wear this. Tuesday I'm gonna wear this. By Wednesday I'm gonna wear this, and of course, after day one, like everything's all messed up. Plans go completely out the window. But at least I have some clothing. I always forget something though. Do you always
Yeah.
forget something?
I do, but like as long as there's a place you could go buy it, then I don't mind. But if
Yeah,
you're
it's
gonna go in
true.
the wilderness, then that's where, well,
Yeah.
then you have to live. Well, that's where tip number 4 comes in, right?
All right, let's see what
So
we got.
learn basic survival skills, right? Know how to build a fire, purify water, read a map, and administer basic first aid, right? These aren't just useful, they can save your life. And so, like that. So, if you forget your matches, hey, at least if you know survival skills, then you could make a fire.
These things are not only helpful for hiking, but like disasters.
Yes.
Like when we had lost power because of the snowstorms
Mm-hmm.
here, I busted out my camping gear and
Mm-hmm.
we did just fine, even though the house got down to 40 degrees. The
Mm-hmm.
inside of our house got down to 40 degrees. Um, Water's another big thing.
Yes.
I would really seriously take some time and learn about how to purify water because I think we often take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I just, flip on the tap
Yeah.
and it's good to go. But like in some other countries, like the tap water does not come out of the faucet very, very good.
It's not
It's
just
not
some other
treated,
countries. In LA, you will not drink tap water.
really.
You're crazy if you drink tap water in LA. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
No.
the tap water here in Fort Worth is kind of metallic tasting.
See, I don't know. I've never drank tap water here just because I was so used to
Give
it.
it, give it a taste, and you'd be like, "Whoa, I'm never doing that
Oh
again."
yeah. See, but in
Hmm.
Norway tap water is so good.
Yeah,
And it's cold. So you don't even have to put it in the refrigerator.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. In August, it starts coming out hot out of the tap here.
It does, even if you're on the cold water.
Yeah,
Yes, I experienced that yesterday. Yes. But so do you know how to filter water?
I do.
Is it hard
There's
to learn?
no, not really.
Okay.
There's a lot of products now that kind of make things easier. I would say though, spend decent money on a filter that isn't like really cheap Temu grade. I don't want to make fun of Temu too much, but there's a lot of fake stuff out there
Yes.
that's not very good, or the quality control can be kind of questionable. But one thing you can look at is water filter straws. So everything is contained in this plastic tube. It's a filter. They developed it, I think, for Africa.
Mhm.
They were just giving it out to people so that no matter where they were, wherever they would drink, they would be able to filter the water.
Yes.
And so, just as a tip for like hikes, I would have like my big water bottle, and I would drink that until it was done with the
Mhm.
clean water. And then once that was done, I would start filling it up from streams and then sticking the straw in and drinking through that.
See.
So having those filter straws, I think everyone should actually have something like that.
Yeah.
Just a really portable water filter, and I think they're like $20. So
Well, I'm gonna try to learn how to filter water just without a straw. Because there's ways to do it. I've seen people doing it all the time
yeah, but the
on
straw is
YouTube.
easy.
I know, but still, what if you forget your straw when you go camping?
I mean, there's charcoal.
See?
Charcoal can filter water.
Yes.
You still have to have like all this stuff and a lot of preparation. That's why I say just buy the product at this point. Boiling water though is a big one.
Yes.
So you can do a rough filter of something. I mean, if you want to be daring, you can filter it with your sock first.
Well, no, that's what I've seen people doing, but I'm like, yeah, no, that's kind of gross.
But
But
yeah,
yes,
boiling is kind of the standard. Although you got to remember that if there's like chemicals in the water,
yes,
boiling is not going to get rid of those
no, it's not.
chemicals.
It's not. So you just have to but you just should learn. And so, yeah, they said we should have an activity where we can learn basic survival skills. I think that would be a fun activity, right? How to set a fire without matches and stuff like that.
The brother
Um,
Oliver Villanueva says, "When the water's green, don't jump in
yes,
when it's swimming pool."
nope, don't. And there was something else Brother Andre had put on there. He goes, on our 3-day trips, my wife packs for 3 weeks. It's better to have it and not need it than have to go to Walmart.
That's true.
It is. It is.
I still find myself, even if I overpack, I forget something.
See.
Usually it's shoes. I forget a certain type of shoe I need to be
Mm,
wearing.
as I got my flip flops, I'm good to go. All right, let's go to our second thinking cap, so that we can get that done.
All
Okay.
right.
So our next one is
Here we go. Number
what
two.
was the what was the most searched extreme sport in the US? Okay, so this is according to Google. What was searched? Was it E, scuba diving, F, snowboarding, G, skateboarding, or H, skydiving? What was the most searched extreme sport in the US?
Hmm.
E, scuba diving, F, snowboarding, G, skateboarding, or H, skydiving? I was really surprised with this one, but
You ever
yeah.
do any of them? Any of
I
these?
have done scuba diving, which was a lot of fun. Oh, that was another adventure on its own.
Yeah.
Because I'm not licensed for scuba, but there's places in Mexico where you can go for the day and they'll teach you the basics and then they'll go out with you and take you out. So you're not on your own. And I did that scuba diving. That was a lot of fun. Except I was not letting go of my guide's hand. Like I was like, sorry, everyone else. They were all certified scuba divers. I was the only one who wasn't. So I'm like, yeah, the guide's staying with me. And I was like holding his hand for dear life. Because when you're under there, you just see the vast ocean. It's like
Hmm.
you're in the middle of nowhere. There's no road, there's no map,
Right.
there's nothing. You're just there. So finally, I think after 30 minutes, I finally let go, and then I was having fun. But then, it started to like get to me. But it was a lot of fun. Snowboarding, I think I'm too old. Skateboarding, I've done, and skydiving, I've only done the indoor skydiving, not the jumping out of a plane.
Real quick. So, brother Oliver and Villanueva says, have a ham radio always.
Yes,
Be sure you get a license. Now, you
yes.
can actually have a ham radio without a
Mm-hmm.
license.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen without a license. You just can't
Talk.
talk on it. But if you're in an emergency, you can.
Oh, I
So
had a
keep that in
license,
mind.
but my license expired. I never renewed it.
And yeah, the way the radio works, it's not like cell phone towers. So
Mm-mm.
you're
Nope.
bouncing your signals off like the atmosphere and whatnot. So might be another thing to consider carrying on you
Yeah.
just in case. Yeah.
Okay, and then there's another tip. Just make sure, like when you're in the snow, right? From Brother Matt, he said, growing up in Alaska, says growing up in Alaska, we learned not to taste the yellow snow. That is so gross.
Not throwing that comment up there.
No, but you know what was funny though? Anytime we went on snow trips, because typical Filipinos, they're gonna make stuff out of snow, right? So we would dig to where it was like purely white,
Mhm.
and they would make the Filipino dessert halo halo. They brought all the stuff, and then they had that snow, and that's what they would use for the ice, and that's what they would have.
You really shouldn't eat
Hey,
snow.
but I'm not. I know, but that's hey. We were
Well,
kids. We were adventurous.
because there's all sorts of stuff in the air.
Yes.
I talked to a meteorologist about this, and it's the same reason why you shouldn't drink like rainwater. You got to remember there's airborne diseases,
Yes.
there's dust particles, all that stuff that gets kicked up into the air. The rain brings that down. That's all contained in that rain. So, I mean, in a survival situation, maybe let it rain a little bit to push everything down first before you collect it. But yeah, in
Yeah.
general,
You're so
don't
cautious.
drink or eat precipitation.
You're so cautious. You're so cautious. All right, let's go to the fifth one. All right, it says pack light but smart. So this just totally debunks the whole 3 days, 3 weeks, right? It says,
Everyone, half the comment section is wrong,
yeah, it says,
according to AI.
bring what you need, not everything you want, which is true, right? Prioritize durability and essentials like food, water, layers, and safety tools. Okay, do you agree with that? Pack light but smart.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I would say at first, especially when you're getting into hiking, you're not really gonna know. So sometimes it's just like, all right, just bring everything you think you
Mm-hmm.
need and learn the
Mm-hmm.
hard way.
Yeah.
Learn that like, okay, I didn't use this, I didn't do that, and just shed it later on. Because I don't want to have like a barrier of entry into
Mm-hmm.
hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
so you can kind of like learn along the way. But I know like when you're doing really long road trips that involve like camping and whatnot, not just to pack light, but to also stay organized.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you're bringing a lot of stuff with you, and oftentimes you're going to fall into the habit of like, all right, you get to the hotel or you get the camp and you're just going to start dumping everything out. It's like, no, try to keep everything neat and organized. It will save you a lot of headache and a lot of time if you do that.
I like to like I don't pack light only because I don't know what to expect. But on trips where I have like a drop point where let's say I can leave stuff and only take certain things on a hike, then I'll bring a whole bunch of stuff but pack light as I'm doing the hike, right? And same thing when I travel overseas. I'll bring a whole bunch of stuff, but of course you're going to leave everything in the hotel and then you do day trips here and there. So
Right.
things like that. Okay, why are you smiling?
Brother Oliver really know
What did he put in there?
that is the whole day of argument in the car with the wife. You pack light. And then Brother Andre says the word light is subjective.
See, that is true.
See, I remember though going on a road trip with my parents, and it's like, all right, let's pack some food. And my mom packed like spaghetti.
Hmm.
So while on the road, while we're eating, we had to have like plates and utensils out.
See, no,
Eating spaghetti in the car.
no.
Not the easiest,
That's
but
why I'll do like the prepackaged stuff, like snacks, right? Trail snacks and stuff like that.
yeah.
Or we would do spam musubi. So that way it would already be ready. So
Yes.
any like finger food. But no, spaghetti, no, no rice, no.
And when like you're hiking, let's say if it's just like for an overnight or
Hmm.
2 nights, I would just pack like beef jerky or dried
Hmm.
sausage. I would not do any cooking on a
Yeah,
hike
yeah.
whatsoever because that's just extra clutter and stuff.
And I know people try to do canned goods, but that's heavy to
Yeah,
pack.
it does start to add up. I mean, if it's all in your vehicle, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, carrying it in a backpack, not so much. I did have a friend tell me though, like sometimes you want to add weight because you want to add comfort, to your hike. So like my dad, when he would go hiking, he'd be like, "Well, technically, I don't need a sleeping pad." And he would just not bring it. But then you got to sleep on the ground.
Oh, that's true.
Now, I went on one hike and I focused on just my sleeping system. So I had a nice air mattress. I had a whole system for like, all right, I'm gonna get dry clothes on,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna have a nice sleeping bag and everything. I had like the best sleep of my life when I did that because not only did I have all the comfortable equipment, but like when you sleep outside with fresh air,
Hmm.
like you really get really good sleep when you have really good fresh air.
Okay, so Brother Ren's put in here about packing light. The only light I have is my wallet. Right? And then Brother Oliver said, I have cobwebs inside my wallet. So I guess that means the wives hold the money. And that's how it usually is, right? And then Brother Oliver did. He said, my son Lark packed his SpongeBob movies all season. When we got to where we were going, we all speak like Patrick and laugh like SpongeBob.
That reminds me of movies. When there was a hurricane coming, I was trying to prepare myself for it. I was like, all right, I don't want to get bored, so let me go rent a bunch of movies so I can watch them. And then when the power went out, I was like, oh, you need power to watch movies. I completely forgot about that. And I was so bored. I ended up going to like a bookstore and reading a bunch of books.
See? And I think that's when I do a lot of my reading is when there is no power
Right.
because you can't do anything else. So yeah. All right, let's go to our next tip. Our next one is respect nature and local cultures, right? Leave no trace. Respect wildlife, trails, and ecosystems, and always honor local customs and traditions wherever you go. I am a true believer in this, right? Especially if you're going to go to a foreign land. If you're going there, you are not an American. You are not going to America. When you go into that foreign land, you
Hmm.
really have to accept their culture. There's some cultures where they won't speak English, and you can't get mad if they don't speak English. That's their culture. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
So
and you may end up uh hurting the ability of people to visit there in the future. Because
yes,
I'm hearing of some places like in Japan
yes,
where they're having problems with tourists, like
yes,
interrupting the local cultures and customs, and they're
yes,
starting to ban
yeah.
tourists altogether. They're saying we're not dealing with it.
No, and not only that, so for next year, they're putting something new in place where when you go to different places, they're going to have two different prices, one for the locals and one for the tourists, because they're trying to deter tourists from going there because they are messing up, like their different tourist sites. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah,
It's just, you know, going into somebody's home
yes,
and starting to dictate to them how they should live.
yes,
That's a big no-no. That can get you into trouble. But not only that, not all countries
uh
have
huh,
like the same criminal justice
yes,
philosophy
exactly,
that here in the United States we have, where everything's based on rights and
yeah.
everything. Some other countries like, no, you don't got that. If we don't like what you're doing, we just throw you in
Yes.
jail.
Like there's some countries that you can't chew gum. So don't chew gum.
Yeah.
They will put you in
Does
jail for that.
Singapore still do that?
Singapore still like that.
Still to this
Yes.
day.
And to this day, if you steal something, they will chop off your hands.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. See? And hey, those are the countries I like to visit because at least you know it's going to be safe, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't test the authorities in foreign countries.
And also with nature, it's true. You know what? Don't litter. I mean, like that is the
Yeah,
worst thing to
litter's the
do.
worst. I hate
Yeah.
littering.
Especially like when you're in the river and then all you see all these things floating in the river because people are just dumping things. No, I think you really need to respect nature. Leave it beautiful for your children. Okay.
Yeah. Well, also too, you litter that river and you go back to town, and it's like that river's providing the water for the
Yeah.
town that you're going to. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Let's go to our third thinking cap so that we can get to the answers later. So the third one is which mountain is climbed more than any other in the world? Is it K, Mount Snowdon in Wales, L, Mount Fuji in Japan, M, Mount Hood in the USA, or N, Adams Peak in Sri Lanka? So, which mountain is climbed the most in the world?
I know the answer to this one.
This one I know too, and I've been there, but I didn't climb it. All
Hmm.
right, let's go to our next one. 7, have a backup plan, right? In case things go wrong. I've
Oh
got
yeah.
plan A, B, C, and D when I go on a trip. What about you?
I have plan A, but I expect that like I'm gonna have to come up with plan B, C, all the way to Z. Yeah.
Oh, I have it all planned out already just in case. If this doesn't happen, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. I will like really spend a lot of time planning, and I've mentioned this before, every hour of a trip, like where I'm gonna be, just so I have a good calculation.
Hmm.
But I fully accept that like once the road trip starts, like I could throw that out the window and it's just a rough guide.
Yeah.
It just gives you a good idea of like, where you might have to be and what you need to pack,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to be real flexible. Especially for when it comes to adventures. Like part of this is because you're trying to enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
So if things aren't going to plan, you're just getting upset. Well, then you're kind of ruining.
And plus, you have to take into consideration weather. You were expecting, blue skies,
Yes.
but then all of a sudden now it's gray skies and something happens. So you have to have a backup plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes aren't weather, but they behave like weather. So I've showed up to places where there were just too many mosquitoes. Like I'm not camping here because
Yeah.
it's not gonna work out.
Yes. Brother Audrey put some conceal carry their backup plan. I wouldn't know. Okay, let's go to the next one. 8. I don't know about this one, but stay fit and conditioned. Adventure often demands endurance, strength, and agility. Maintain your fitness so your body can match your spirit. I think it depends on what the adventure is. For me, going to another country, you technically don't have to be fit and conditioned.
Yeah, but if
Especially if
you
you're going
want,
there for food.
yeah, but in a lot of other places, like transportation isn't like here.
Yes.
You'd be expected to walk everywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
So
you don't have to be like, Hulk Hogan fit kind of a thing. Like you could still be, you know,
you bring up Hulk Hogan of
you
all
know.
people.
Oh, I know. Sorry. Because he was just we were having
I don't think he
conversations
was
about it.
known as a walker though.
But you know what I mean. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying, you don't have to, as long as you can do it. I think that's what it is.
For hiking,
That's different.
you need to train with weight on your back.
Mhm.
So I remember one year I was gonna hike the Appalachians,
Mhm.
and I had been jogging all year, and I thought, hey, I'm good to go.
Mhm.
I'm jogging, I'm running. That should translate into hiking, and it
No,
doesn't. Nope, not at all.
because you need to have
I was
stuff.
I was surprised like how bad I was at just walking with a pack. So yeah, you need to if you're gonna do any substantial, kind of walking, especially if you're going to a foreign country and you know you have to do that, just start doing it now so that
Yes.
it's not too much of a shock to your legs because you have to train your muscles for a specific type of activity and you got to get your blood vessels trained and everything. Otherwise, you're going to have like the muscle itches.
Yes. And I think also depending on where you're going, because like with Lima, if you wanted to go hiking and stuff, and you go up to where Machu Picchu is, you have to condition yourself first because of the
Mm.
elevation. That one like really gets a lot of people sick. So yes. So there's another thing with a backup plan. Brother Roman put backup plan is go home and sleep. No, that is not a backup plan. All right, let's go to. I love this one. I think this is one of my most favorite tips. Is document the journey, but live it first. Right? Capture the memories, but don't experience everything through your camera. Be present. The best stories are lived, not just posted. And I think that's so true.
Yeah, I started to realize that like as much as I want to bring out my camera and film something,
Hmm.
it's like I should be experiencing this first and foremost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes I won't even bring out the camera at
Hmm.
all. And I remember my wife asking me, "It's like you're not gonna take a picture?" And I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
I really want just to
Yeah.
be fully, involved in the experience."
And I did that when I went to Montana because I was just so at awe with the way nature was over there. Where I think it wasn't until like day 3 where I actually started taking pictures. But just being able to see it live and, like you said, not through lenses, it's just so much better,
Yeah.
right?
And I think there should be somewhat of a balance, but I would say you want to be more, experiencing it because
Yes,
that's the only time you have. You can look at the pictures later
yes,
and just kind of try to limit the pictures or take like one picture and then put your phone away and then just try to really take in
yeah.
everything.
And even now, I've learned like I don't even post while I'm on my trips now because
Hmm.
I want to enjoy. When I get home, sure I could post it later, but
Right.
at least not while you're trying to enjoy the moment.
And
And
to put context to it, like when you post it online, people may look at it for like 2 seconds and then they're
mhm.
moving, they're scrolling
Exactly.
onward.
They're not going to look at the beauty that you just saw in
Right.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to go back on the staying fit, Brother Romy Lou put stay in shape. Round is a shape. Round shape. If you fall, you just roll down.
You mentioned something about oh, that was Brother Oliver, but he mentioned something about air condition. Okay. One thing I learned though is like let's say you're gonna be outdoors when it's hot,
Uh-huh.
you can acclimatize yourself to be comfortable in the heat so
Yeah.
that it's not so much of a shock. So like I do that sometimes. Like there's a place we have to go where it's not air conditioned,
Hmm.
and so like before I go there, I actually go for a walk outside just to get my body used to the heat, and
See,
then shower up and then go so that it's not too bad.
and that brings us to our 10th tip, right? Embrace discomfort. Rain, fatigue, bugs, fear. Adventure isn't always pretty, but that's part of the deal. Discomfort is where growth, gift, and unforgettable memories are lived, right? So that's true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
Okay. Look at old people. They don't do this for a reason. So like when you're involved in the outdoors and it's your hobby, you see all the younger people, they got everything on their back, right? And they're roughing it. And
Hmm.
then all the older people, they bring their RVs. And there's a reason why. It's like, hey, you're taking time off, to go outdoors. Do you want to suffer and be miserable, or do you want to enjoy it?
Yeah.
So that's where you kind of have to find the balance. Now,
Hmm.
when you're young, yeah, you might be able to sleep, on the ground where it's rough. But like me, I started realizing I'm taking days off work. I'm not going to do that to be miserable the whole time. So I try to
Exactly.
balance in more comfort
Yeah.
with it.
I mean, and like that, if it's something you can control, then yes.
Yes.
But sometimes, like you said, you don't expect weather to happen, you don't expect bugs, but sometimes it is what it is. That's what nature's about. You can't be out in nature and not expect critters.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Or like when you're moving out.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't be too picky about the apartment because I gotta sleep somewhere. And I went to the cheapest one, and there were weeds growing out of my carpet from the outside. It had roaches and whatnot, but that had to be done so I can get my career off the ground.
I think we need a little bit more elaboration. Brother Oliver said number 10, still wife. Please elaborate. Are you trying to tell your wife to embrace discomfort? Or will she not embrace discomfort, right? But you see, Brother Romilly put discomfort makes it an adventure because I think like if everything goes to plan, I don't. Sometimes it's not as memorable. I think when things go bad, that's where you remember the things, and eventually you're going to laugh about it after the fact, right? But I think that's what makes you remember is because of the things that didn't go as planned.
Yeah, I remember I lost my tent, and
What do you mean you lost your tent?
I forgot to lash it down to my truck, and it flew out somewhere. So if you want a tent, you can hunt around Southwest Colorado. There's a tent for you on the side of the road
Somewhere?
somewhere. Yeah, but the way I had my truck set up though, I was setting up the tent on a platform on my truck, and the tent that I bought fit that platform. It was very difficult finding that tent.
Uh
So
huh.
when I lost it and I had to go to a sporting goods store and I had to find another tent, the only tent that would fit that platform was a child's tent. It was a shark. The opening to the tent was the
What the hell?
shark's mouth. And so I'm out camping. Everyone else is all serious with their camping gear, and I'm sleeping in a shark tent.
And with your feet sticking out of the shark's
No,
tent?
actually, I barely fit in it if I
Oh.
slept diagonally in the tent.
See, but it would have been better if your legs were sticking out. Can you imagine that picture? But Brother Oliver Gabrielina did put something in here. He says, yes, embrace discomfort. Might be scared and hesitant at first, but then would come to realize I can do it and it's not so bad after all. Yeah, and sometimes it is when you overcome all those things,
Right.
you realize, oh, see, I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we do need to find opportunities to toughen up. I
Yes.
agree with that. But yeah, as I get older, I'm like, yeah, I'm done trying to prove that I'm tough when I have a good night's sleep.
Maybe I'm not there yet. I'm not old yet. Okay, so let's go over our answers for the thinking cap, and then do you have the leaderboard? Because I
Yes,
don't.
we
Okay,
do.
we'll do the leaderboard, and then if you guys have any other comments or suggestions, please put in the chat, and we'll go over those after
Yeah.
these
Oh yeah, we
ones.
got some time.
All right, so the first one is according to Wildland Trekking, what is the best hike in the world? What do you think it is?
I would think maybe it's the Mirror Trail.
That's what you think it would be?
Yeah.
It is actually the Inca Trail,
The
which
Inca
is Machu
Trail.
Picchu, which this takes you to Machu Picchu. And so for me, I did the last part of the trek. I didn't do the whole, it's supposed to
Mm,
be like a 7 day trek. No,
yeah.
I only did the last part. I only did the Machu Picchu part. So it is the Inca Trail in Peru. Okay. And then this one I was really surprised. What was the most searched extreme sport in the US? What do you think it is?
I would think skateboarding just because its prevalence.
Yes, it is skateboarding.
Yeah.
I think because it's not as dangerous as the
Yeah,
other
pretty
three.
accessible too.
Yes, so that's why that is that. All right. And the last one, which mountain is climbed more than any other in the
Mount
world?
Fuji.
It is Mount Fuji. And
Really?
that was one of the ones that they're trying to get the tourists away from
Really?
because a lot of the tourists when they go there, they leave their stuff in the mountain. They don't clean up after themselves and the
Mm.
Japanese are just getting so upset.
You know what the second most visited is?
Which one is it?
Pikes Peak,
Where's that at?
Colorado.
Oh,
Yeah, they tell you when you
second.
show up there.
That they're
You're
the
like,
second.
"Welcome to Pikes Peak. We're the second most visited mountain in the world."
Do they say that at Mount Fuji is the first one?
Yep, they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
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 So, what's interesting though about climbing Mount Fuji is there's not like a road that goes directly to the top. You
Mm-mm.
have to walk the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a long walk.
Yes.
When you can watch videos online, it'll take like all day and night, and maybe even into the next day to complete it.
And that's why now they're limiting like how many people could
Yeah.
actually hike Mount Fuji only because of that, because there's just so much stuff that people
I
are
find it
leaving behind.
fascinating though, like almost the whole way up though, it's like you have stops along the way
Yes.
where they have shops. You
Yes.
can get a hiking stick and they'll put like a mark on it at each of the stops.
Yes.
You can, stay overnight on some of these stops.
And then there's some locals who have like, it's like a makeshift restaurant where they'll cook
Yep.
for you and stuff like that.
But you do have to walk the whole way. Walking is the only option.
Nope, not doing that. All right. Let's go ahead and you go start doing your chats.
All right, let's see.
Ooh.
Oh, this one's good. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Does it
But,
really?
but once you're dead, you can't have any more strength.
Does it really? What else?
Oh, this one, like the bidet. I wasn't sure at first, but it's a wonderful thing. That's an adventure, right? The first time you use a bidet.
Hey, it works. I'm telling you. They
I
have that all over Japan.
Since my wife convinced us to get one, like now I can't imagine my life without one, basically.
No, it is. And I got one. I installed one in my house because I think it is the coolest
Yep.
thing, right? So
Yep.
Melanie put something in here. It says Nate is really good at finding different ways to go from point A to point B, even without having to use Google Maps. Is that true?
Oh, I love maps. Yeah. And alternate routes and everything. Yeah. I'm all about that.
That's the only thing I use Google Maps for is to find alternate routes, especially when there's traffic.
Brother Sean Bourgeois mentioned Guadalupe Peak, the highest mountain in Texas. I've been there.
Oh, have you? Is it really high?
Yes. It is a pretty good hike. I did it in winter. So if you plan on doing this hike, it's kind of out in the desert, so that's one thing. You might not want to go out there like in the middle of summer. We went in the middle of winter, which is also kind of dangerous
Hmm.
because it gets below freezing.
Yes.
So we did a backpacking trip, just an overnight for this, which I recommend, by the way, if you want to do it. It's really, really steep at first. So if you're doing this thing and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it,
Like the incline is steep.
the first part is really steep. After that, it's nice and level, and it's a really nice hike. But you have to earn that first
Okay, when you say the
part of the
first
hike.
part, like how is it? Like a mile, half a mile? What is it?
It was like a good hour or two of
Oh
like really
no.
steep
Oh,
hiking.
I would have given up already.
Yep. So, and I was
Mm-mm.
I was the friend that had the backpack with everything in
Nope,
it.
nope.
Brother Matt mentioned earlier. But once you get up there to like the where it kind of flattens out, you can camp there. They got a campsite up there.
Okay.
And me and my friends, we camped up there. It got really cold at night. It was like in the 20s, and there's a lot of wind. You got to factor for that. It gets really windy up there.
Okay, but what do you see?
I mean, it's kind of like a plateau desert scene. Looks like a Western movie.
See, for me, if I'm gonna do like a trek like that, you gotta have either waterfalls or a lake that you can jump in at when you get there.
Yeah, there ain't none of that out
Yeah,
there.
that's why in Hawaii, I didn't mind doing any of the hikes that we did in Hawaii because
Yeah.
you know you were gonna end up in a waterfall. So those ones I would do,
And then
but not desert.
the last part, you're just kind of going up the rocks to the top. You get a really good view. But because we did it in winter, the trail was actually frozen with ice.
Ooh,
So there
that's
was
dangerous.
yes. So there were sections where we were crawling. So those were we did the risk reward. We get up to just a patch of ice just going on the trail, and we had
Ooh.
to decide. And I was like, all right, let's crawl. So we crawled up the mountain.
See, I'm not that adventurous. I will do other things, but that I would not do. But yeah. All right. So it looks like we are out of time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in our chat. You always make our radio show so interesting with the different comments you put on there. So please keep it up. Oh, wait, are we gonna show the leaderboard really fast?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Hurry,
yeah.
we have
Let's
a
show
minute.
that.
Let's do it. Let's go look at the leaderboard.
We got a three-way tie right
Oh,
now.
right now, three-way tie. So, Sister Fredolyn, Brother Matthew, and Brother Rome. Hopefully, you guys got the hard ones from today, and then maybe you'll get there.
Yep. And I'm still trying to get addresses for last month.
Who was last month's?
I forgot. There was like I think there were three or four that won.
Okay,
So
we'll have to
I've
look
been
into
trying
it.
to reach out and find an address to send it to. But if you have my contact, please reach out to me and give me an
Send them a
address.
message in
I'm
Telegram.
gonna
Give
send
them
it
your
to one
address.
person though, so that it makes it easier.
Yeah, and
Because
then you
they're
just
all in Jacksonville.
oh, then you could just send it all over there to them. Yeah. All right. So, like I said, thank you once again for everyone who joined us today. Please tune in again next week. INC Radio South Central States. I don't know what we're going to be talking about next week. Oh, it's a whole new month, so we have to have new topics for next month.
Yep, we do.
So we'll figure out what it is. But before we go, we would always like to say thank you to our INC radio station manager, Brother Wally Sai, our deputy executive minister, Brother Angelo Irano Manalo, and of course, our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week.